All right, in today's lesson, we are going to be talking about graphing absolute value equations using t-tables. All right, so as a review, remember the absolute value of a number is the distance the number is away from zero. So if I were to ask you what is the absolute value of 5, the answer would be 5, because 5 is 5 units away from 0. If I said to you, what's the absolute value of a -5, the answer would be 5, because -5 is 5 units away from 0. We're going to use that skill, that knowledge base, when we go through the process of graphing using a t-table. Step number 1, what we're going to do is we're going to plug the values in for x, and we're simply going to work them out. The answer will be the y value for that ordered pair. Then what we're going to do is we're going to graph the 5 ordered pairs. Remember, an ordered pair is made up of an x comma y. The x moves us left, right. The y moves us up, down. So we're going to plot 5 points on the graph. At that point, we connect the points, and the graph should be in a shape of a V or an upside down V, but it should be in the shape of a V. If it is not, then you know that you did something wrong as far as the math goes. All right, so here we go. Let's try this. So it says y equals the absolute value of x. So what we simply do is we plug in the value of x. So in this first one, it's -2. Y equals the absolute value of -2. The absolute value of -2 is +2. Okay, now we move to the next one. The absolute value of a -1 is a +1. The absolute value of 0, that's 0. The absolute value of 1, that's 1. And the absolute value of 2, that's 2. And then we come over to our graph. First point is -2, 2. So I'm going to go left 2, up 2, put a dot, put our point. Then I'm going to go -1, 1. I'm going to go left 1, up 1, 0, 0, right 1, up 1, right 2, up 2. At that, I'm going to connect my points. And as you notice, that graph is in the shape of a V, so we know we're on the right track there. Okay, let's try number 2. So on number 2, we do the same process. We start off and we say, okay, y equals the negative of absolute value of a -2 plus 7. Okay, so when we work that out, the absolute value of a -2 is 2, but it's the negative of that, so that makes it back a -2 plus 7, and that would be a 5. Then we do the -1, so y equals negative of the absolute value of a -1 plus 7. So the absolute value of a -1 is 1. The negative of that makes it -1. Add 7, and I would get a 6. Y equals the negative absolute value of 0 plus 7. So the absolute value of 0 is 0. Negative of that is still 0. 0 plus 7 is 7. Then we come down to the next part. Negative absolute value of 1 plus 7. So we look at this. Absolute value of 1 is 1. Negative of that is -1. -1 plus 7. That's going to give us 6. And then we do the absolute value of 2 plus 7. So absolute value of 2 is 2. Negative of that is -2 plus 7. It's going to give us 5. So now I have my 5 ordered pairs. So my first one is -2, +5. So -2 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up. My second one is -1, 6. My third one is 0, 7. My fourth one is 1, 6. And my fifth one is 2, 5. With that, I'm going to draw my V. And there is my graph. Okay, let's try this next one. Now, if you notice, this time our numbers are changing, and the reason for that is because of that +2. Okay, so we want to, it's going to shift some things around, so we shift our numbers to make sure that we account for that plus 2 inside the absolute value. All right, so here we go. Let's plug in our numbers. So the first one, we're going to go absolute value of negative 4 plus 2, and then we're going to add 3 to that. So absolute value of negative 4 plus 2. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. Absolute value of that is 2. 2 plus 3 gets me 5. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to say, okay, what's the absolute value of negative 3 plus 2? And then add 3. So negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. Absolute value is 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to say, okay, absolute value of negative 2 plus 2 plus 3. So negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Absolute value of that is 0 plus 3 is 3. Then I come in with the negative 1. So now negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Absolute value is 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. And then the last one, we have 0 plus 2 and then plus 3. So 0 plus 2 is 2. Absolute value of that is 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. So now when we come to graph it, we go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we go 4 up. Next one, we go left 2, up 3. We go left 1, up 4. We don't go left or right any, and we go up 5. And there is our V. There's our graph of our absolute value. Okay, let's try this next one. So we start off. We're going to plug in our values for X. So negative absolute value of negative 1 minus 1, and then minus 2. So negative 1 minus 1, that's negative 2. Absolute value of that is 2. Negative of that is negative 2 minus 2 would get me negative 4. Then I go to 0. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of negatives floating on this, so be very careful. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Absolute value of that is 1. Negative of that is negative 1. Minus 2 is negative 3. Go to the next one. So here we have 1 minus 1 is 0. Absolute value of 0 is 0. Negative of that is still 0. Minus 2 is negative 2. 2 more to go here. So we have 2 minus 1. And then minus 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. Absolute value of that is 1. Negative of that is negative 1. Minus 2 would get me negative 3. And the last one here. And you have 3 minus 1 is 2. Absolute value of that is 2. Negative of that is negative 2. Minus 2 would get me negative 4. So I come over, negative 1, negative 4. So negative 1 down 4. So left 1 down 4. Neither left or right, but I'm going to go down 3. I'm going to go to the right 1 down 2. Right 2 down 3. And right 3 down 4, connect our points, and there is our graph. All right, let's try this last one then. Now you'll notice a number showed up different than any other of the other ones, and that is we have an A there in the front. We have a 3. So what that means is after we take the absolute value, we're going to multiply it by 3. So let's try this one. So we have 3 times the absolute value of negative 2 minus 6. Absolute value of negative 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. Next one, we have 3 times the absolute value of a negative 1 minus 6. Absolute value of a negative 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Minus 6 gets me a negative 3. Then the next one. Absolute value of 0 is 0. Times 3 is 0. Minus 6 is negative 6. And then this last two, we have absolute value of 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Minus 6 is negative 3. And our last one, absolute value of 2 is 2. Times 3 is 6. Minus 6 is 0. So when I come to graph it, I go left 2, none, up or down. I go left 1, down 3. I don't go left or right any, but I go down 6. I go right 1, down 3. And then right 2, don't move. So we draw our graph. And there is the graph of that absolute value. And that is how we graph absolute value equations using t-tables.